State's most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We've got a few more mild days to enjoy this week, but rain could be on the way. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that till the end of the work week, though. What a delightful start for early March, as we're already at 44 in Joplin, but right down the road on I-44, 14-degree difference as we sit at only 30 in Miami. Let's go 39 in Fort Scott. We got 37 in both Monette and Cassville. Beautiful, clear Wednesday morning. Clean sky, which storm tracker just clean as can be. And really not a big difference when we talk about wind chill, able to escape anything into the teens. We do see some high 20s, especially when we talk about what it feels like up to the north. While this storm system finally pushes off to the Atlantic, we now turn our attention to this little bubble that we see just west of Los Angeles because, as Tanya said, eventually we're going to get some later week rain. But before we do that, another day of plenty of sunshine, already up into the 60s by the noon hour and topping out in the high 60s. We'll probably throw a 70 on the board here. And so just a wonderful middle of the week. And we're going to be able to do it back-to-back days, not only for Wednesday, but we'll do it for Thursday with additional 60s as well. Now, we talked about what was on the West Coast right there. Well, there we go. Starting Thursday evening, we begin to see it creep in. Kind of give you a long form of what it is. There it goes, and then it becomes snow over the Rockies, back to rain as it gets into central Kansas. And we're not looking at anything severe, but it'll be on us before it dives down to the southeast. Not everybody's going to get a taste of rain, but I think the majority of the 4 states are going to see some. And even with some cooler temperatures on the backside of it, we're still into the 60s for the weekend. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Michael. Nursing homes across the country are seeing a decline in COVID-19 related deaths, and that's according to a report from the American Healthcare Association and National Center for Assisted Living. They say there's been an 82% decline since December of last year. We spoke with Stephen Buck, president of Care Providers Oklahoma, on the importance of people in long-term care facilities receiving their vaccines.
Until we have it completely beat, we're going to have to all continue to be conscientious and understand that seniors and those with comorbidities are going to continue to be at highest risk. And we should all respect and promote their good health and do what we can to prevent viral spread.
He says that anyone in long-term care facilities who missed out getting their vaccine during the rollout does not need to worry, as they are still eligible. Some good news came out of yesterday's COVID-19 briefing at Freeman Hospital. Freeman officials say the number of COVID-19 inpatients has declined. A total of 13 COVID patients were getting treatment in Freeman West and Freeman Neosho yesterday, compared to 66 patients at the peak. Freeman currently has 1 COVID patient in ICU, so the hospital is converting unit space to handle other patients. But they say the space could be equipped for COVID patients again if necessary. Officials say the declining numbers are due in part to residents complying with COVID-19 safety precautions. Law officers in Miami yesterday recovered more than 50 guns that they believe were stolen from a local business. Police, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and the Quapaw Nation recovered the guns from a home, but say more are still missing. 4 staters got a bit of a scare yesterday morning. This message alerting them to a tornado warning. The alert was sent in error. The National Weather Service says it was supposed to be a test message. It was not supposed to trigger a mass phone alert. Officials say they're looking into the cause. Well, if you heard tornado sirens yesterday morning, the 4 states conducted statewide tornado drills. Jasper County Emergency Manager Keith Stammer says when it comes to an actual tornado warning, the city has specific policy for sounding the sirens.
When we have a tornado warning, we turn on the sirens for 3 minutes, off for 3, on for 3, off for 3, until the storm is passed. An important note is to remember that we do not sound an all clear. We've had evenings where we had several storms come by and we had to sound the siren each time.
We all know when those sirens do sound, it's time to take cover. But during this pandemic, how can we keep ourselves safe from 2 threats? KOAM's Chris Warner has some tips on what we can do.
While sirens sounded outside, an alert was sounded inside the halls of Joplin High School as they took part in the statewide tornado drill today.
This area is susceptible to bad and dangerous inclement weather, and so we like to be vigilant all the time because, you know, we have 2,300 kids at Joplin High School.
As the students went to their designated shelter areas, social distancing becomes an issue with 2,300 students. Principal Dr. Stephen Gilbreth says they have a plan.
The discussion has been, if you go into the you go into the shelter, obviously we have a mask mandate at the school that is still in place. Even though the city's has expired, the school policy is, to mask.
Dr. Gilbert says he knows they can't keep everyone 6 feet apart, but he believes in the guidance from local health departments and the CDC.
If there is a possible exposure, as long as everybody was masked, there won't have to be a quarantine.
Jasper County Emergency Manager Keith Stammer says he agrees.
I think mask wearing is a good thing to do. Maintaining some kind of a distance as best you can in family groups at the very least off to one side from each other. It can be done. Sometimes it's not very comfortable, but it can be done.
Stammer says you can always shelter in place at home, and in some cases, that may be your best bet for safety.
We'd like for you to make a kit, put some survival items in there, some clothes, some food, some water, flashlight, batteries and such, and take them to your survival location, which would be an interior closet or say a bathroom, somewhere with multiple walls between you and the exterior.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
In Joplin, the school shelters double as community shelters in the event of a tornado warning. You can find a list of shelters in your area on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. It's 5:07.
Sunrise 6:46 on this Wednesday. Midweek heat up as we're going to be close to 70 degrees for the next 2 days. Keeping our eyes on a low pressure system developing off the Pacific coast. That brings us rain on Friday. Short-lived, even with cooler temperatures on Friday, because Saturday and Sunday the sunshine returns and we are back into the 60s.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Girard and Frontenac battle it out on the court last night to see who moves on in the sub-state bracket. We'll have highlights from the game. Plus, vaccine companies work on a COVID-19 vaccine booster shot to better help against the new virus variants. And cashier-less grocery stores. We're going to tell you about some of the changes coming to a local neighborhood Walmart. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Playoff time is here for both Kansas and Missouri high school basketball. District time in Missouri, sub-state in Kansas. We'll start in SEK, where we had a good one in a 3A sub-state. It's the 4 versus 5 seed game in the bracket. Girard at home, round 1 against Frontenac. First quarter, Jordan Fudge punch it two-handed. Raiders up 1 after the first quarter. Girard grabs a quick lead in the second. Rigby Bourne with a three-pointer. Trojans down 3 at the break. Raiders extend the lead in the third. Tough move by Colin McCartney. Frontenac goes up 8 points in the fourth. They finish it. Fudge getting up to get down. Frontenac moves on. Beats Girard 65-54.
Really impressed with the guys. We knew it was going to be a tough one against Girard. It always is. We felt like if we could win the battle in the paint tonight, that would give us a really good opportunity. And I really felt like the guys executed the game plan well and really won it in the paint tonight.
Good looking match there, Marshall. Pittsburgh girls have been decimated by injuries lately. They were at home last night for a sub-state semifinal against Spring Hill, but they had Jaya Minifield, who knocks down the 3. Minifield, just a monster for Pittsburgh. Another 3. She scores 11 of the Purple Dragons' first 13 and finishes with 16. Jackie Hall, and my girl, boom. She had 2 threes in the second quarter. Hall scores 13, but Spring Hill rallies and wins the semifinal 51-45. On the Missouri side, Webb City Cardinals with a home game, kicking off the Class 5 District 12 tournament. On top of that, also a little COC rivalry game because CJ was in town. Love it when these two hook up. Cards looking for a chance at their 5th district title in 6 years. First quarter, Nakai Howard. 3-pointer for Howard. Cards up 4 points early. CJ with a response. Sincere Williams in the corner. Don't leave him open. Bulldogs trail by 6 points after the first quarter. In the second, pass to Blake Torman. Dribble, finish that. My goodness. Bulldogs down 5 though after 2. Fourth quarter, Cole Baden on the wing. Team high 17. Webb City wins at 89-71. Put some points up on the board, boys. They'll play Nevada Friday night with a shot at their third straight district title.
We're excited. Again, we've worked hard to get to this moment. There's still a lot of work left to be done. Right now, we're just, we're taking it one game at a time and, just anxious to see who we're getting ready to play next.
We've got College Heights still alive for a state title, facing Crane in the sectional round. First quarter, Kai Smith, give me that. Drops it in for 2. Pirates lead by 5. Then the pass to Curtis Davenport, all the way through traffic. College Heights, though, down after the first quarter by double digits. In the second quarter, Ethan Adele. I'd do it myself, man. Oh, a little teardrop. Cougars get within 10, but could not really get back in it as Crane advances, winning 74-59. After 8 straight road games to kick off the season, Crowder College softball team at home for the first time. Crowder with a home opener, a doubleheader, and taking on the Neosho County Panthers. Crowder have been hot to start the year. Lady Riders 7-1 in the first 8 games. Sydney Ward, she was in the circle. Finish that looking backward, can you please? More from her in the second, and a big game from Skylar Randall. Bases loaded in the bottom of the third. Randall, yeah, off the fence. 2 runners score. 5-0 Crowder. Back to Ward. Punch it. Swinging. She got 9 strikeouts in 4 innings of work. Randall not done with the bat. Goes to the other side of the field. Plates 2 more for the Lady Riders. Crowder wins the first game over Neosho. 8-0. Only took 5 innings. Game 2. Crowder gets a doubleheader sweep, wins this thing 9-5. Now the Lady Riders, they are right back on the field today. Another doubleheader. They're going to take on Des Moines Area Community College. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, how an American student's taking his hobby to the runway for French Fashion Week. And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Sitting on 517 on this Wednesday morning. Seems like a logical time for weather on the 7s. Let's go ahead and take a live look outside of Television City. It's sunrise not till 6:46, so we got a little bit, but it gives me an excuse to throw up our current conditions where we sit at 44 degrees. Look at how low that humidity already is, dropping down to 49% this morning. We're going to have a warming trend that we have not seen in some time. By the time we are said and done, it's going to be reminiscent of what we had a week ago Tuesday, where we were able to make it up into the 70s because it's going to warm up. It's going to warm up fast. It's still got a 14 degree difference there between Joplin and Miami. 37 in Parsons, and able to hit almost the mid-40s as well in Carthage and Carl Junction right now. That's because our wind shifted overnight, did come in about 20 miles per hour. Now as we see it work in from the south-southwest, starting to calm down just a little bit, down to 11 miles per hour there in Independence. No worries on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. That's just a little residual that we pick up from the sweeping radar. Larger portion of that storm system that was in the Gulf is now kicking off on the other side of the Atlantic. Nothing severe for them to worry about today. This looks like just a little blip on the other side of Los Angeles right there. That's going to play a key factor for our Friday weather. We're going to see this thing move inland and make its way over the Rockies and actually head toward us. Going to kind of take a straight west to east route, if you will. But before we get there, Wednesday and Thursday, we are talking about getting spoiled here in early March. Sunshine, temperatures in the mid to high 60s. Not going to be surprised if we don't throw a 70 on the board every now and then. And then overnight, our temperatures well above freezing. Really don't have anything to worry about until we get into Thursday evening. That's when we'll see just a little cloud cover begin to develop out to the west. And on the back heels of it, that's that rain. That's right. That's what worked in all the way from the west coast right there, but really not on us until we get into Friday. Give you an idea of just exactly how it moves. Of course, it's going to turn over to snow in the elevated areas over the Rockies, but then back into rain. And our temperatures are going to be so nice and warm, we won't have to worry about any of it flipping over. 7-day forecast. A little bit cooler on Friday after the thunderstorm activities. We drop down into the 50s, but great looking weekend with plenty of sunshine and back into the 60s. Now, there's something to talk about on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll. Shoppers have some differing opinions on big changes to some Walmart stores. Our own Zach Dodge has a story on one local store that no longer has cashiers and what some shoppers think of the change.
What could be called a sign of the times has made its way to the 4 states. At the Walmart neighborhood market on Stone's Corner, cashiers are a thing of the past. Walmart has shifted the store entirely to self-checkout, explaining as shoppers' habits have changed, their response to meet those habits will follow. At the neighborhood market, there are now 12 self-checkouts and 1 pay station, increasing the total number of lanes by 2. Walmart also says they didn't let anyone go, instead shifting cashiers to online grocery pickup or to the customer host position. They also say 20 new associates are being added at the store. The store's remodel wrapped up at the end of February, and so far, some customers seem to like it.
It's nice just to be able to go in there, just slide your stuff, get in and get out. But I mean, I hope if they do that with the machines, I hope they at least use those employees maybe to do the grocery pickups.
I like it because when I come here, I take my little sisters, so then they can do it too because they think it's cool that it beeps. But the older generations, they like to do this like with the cashier because they like to be able to talk to them.
And Melinda Venter on Facebook says, I love self-checkout. In fact, I wish they had Scan and Go like Sam's Club. It's so much faster. But others on social media don't like the idea. Leonard Hopper says, quote, they need to rethink this. It's not just groceries people go for, it's service and interaction. And Lydia Holloway says, it's a huge mistake to eliminate cashiers. I can tell right away that this will alienate the elderly, visually impaired, and those who lack full motor functions. And Diane Siddons simply says, one more reason not to shop at Walmart. In Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Walmart tells us its supercenter in Miami also going to transition to mostly self-checkouts, stores being remodeled once it's done. Going to have 24 self-checkouts compared to 4 traditional registers. Again, Walmart says it isn't letting any associates go. Instead, they're hiring more. Our question on Facebook and our Insta poll, what do you think about self-checkout stores? Leave your comments or vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Back with Health Watch next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, limited COVID-19 vaccine supplies, appointment scheduling frustrations. Just 2 of the hurdles facing the U.S. as a 3rd vaccine is rolled out. But even as the new 1-dose shot is available, work is already being done to make all 3 better. Mandy Gaither has more.
A 3rd coronavirus vaccine officially rolled out in the U.S.
If people want to opt for one vaccine over another, they may have to wait. Time is of the essence. Getting vaccinated saves lives.
It's a race against the virus variants believed to be more contagious.
J&J has communicated that the supply will be limited for the next couple of weeks following this initial distribution of nearly 4 million doses.
Even as more shots become available, the 3 companies with vaccines on the U.S. market are working on a booster to help better protect against the virus variants.
All the companies are already working on the next generation for some of these variants. While we're encouraged and we're confident in the current vaccine that we have, you've always got to be preparing for the future and frankly for the unknowns.
The latest 7-day average numbers show a slight increase in new COVID-19 cases and deaths compared to the week before.
Please hear me clearly. At this level of cases with variants spreading, we stand to completely lose the hard-earned ground we have gained. Stay strong in your conviction. Continue wearing your well-fitted mask and taking the other public health prevention actions that we know work.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
White House officials say the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will be allocated the same way as the other 2 on the U.S. market. The company expects to deliver around 16 million additional doses by the end of March. Rising temperatures around the world may have a negative effect on multiple sclerosis patients. Researchers at Stanford looked at periods of unusually warm weather in the U.S. and found an uptick in emergency room visits among MS patients during those times. Heat sensitivity is a common symptom in MS. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Sunrise over the 4 states headed our way at 6:46. Going to be an absolutely delightful middle of the week as we'll reach up into the high 60s with a whole lot of sunshine. Not going to be surprised if we don't see a 70 pop up every now and then. Really don't have any developments to worry about until we get to Friday, and that's just some Pacific rain. That's right, not Gulf Coast rain. Pacific moisture. It's going to move on to the coast later today, and we'll kind of future track that as we go about, but it won't be here till Friday afternoon. A little bit of a cold front on the backside of it, but what a great weekend as we're looking at 60s on both Saturday and Sunday, and the sunshine returns. We'll be back right after this.
Gates Corporation. Vaccines in action. We'll tell you how vaccination efforts at local nursing homes contributed to a decline in COVID-related deaths. Plus, what you need to know about using a community storm shelter during a pandemic. And authorities in Miami recover guns believed were stolen from a local business.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We've got some wonderful weather ahead of us and then changes on the way. Michael joins us with the first look at your forecast.
Been pretty amazed, Tanya, at the difference in temperatures that we have right here along I-44. Now, it's pretty calm this time of year. You can't really complain even if you're sitting 30 in Miami. But look, you just jaunt up the highway right there. It's already 44 in Joplin, 43 in Carthage. Let's roll a pair of 37s in both Parsons and Oswego. Remember, anything we pick up right around our sweeping radar sites, just a little residual fallout, no precipitation up in the air because we don't even have clouds to contend with. 31 is what it feels like in Neosho, 30 in Mount Vernon, and 31 in Anderson. The big storm system that was on the Gulf Coast past couple of days now kicking off to the Mid-Atlantic. Here's our next system. Yeah, out there all the way by Los Angeles is what we're going to pay attention to. But before we get there, a Wednesday and a Thursday that are filled with sunshine and temperatures up into the high 60s, if not a 70 on the board every now and then. No worries on future track for the next 48 hours. Give you an idea of what this thing's going to do. Get over the Rockies, turn into snow. Get over on the other side of the Rockies, turn back into rain. But like I said, we don't need to worry about that until Friday, as our beginning of March is absolutely delightful. And even with the cooler temperatures and the rain on Friday, we're right back into the 60s with additional sunshine for a beautiful 4-state weekend. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Michael. Nursing home COVID-19 cases are on the decline both nationally and locally. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with care providers in Oklahoma about what they're seeing.
Nursing homes across the country are seeing a decline in COVID-19 related deaths. According to a report from the American Healthcare Association and National Center for Assisted Living. The organization says there's been an 82% decline since December of last year. Stephen Buck, president of Care Providers Oklahoma, says we're seeing the same thing regionally as well.
That's correct. The data we're seeing here in the state of Oklahoma is mirroring that trend line that you saw in the national release today.
Data released by the Oklahoma State Department of Health shows that in a week period in February, there were only 39 new cases. Back in December, there were 443 in 1 week across the state. Buck says vaccines aren't the only reason for the decline.
I think vaccine is important, but I would also share with you that the frontline heroes who have been doing this work, their infection control protocols, our understanding of how to do mitigation as effectively as we possibly can.
According to the CDC, around 80% of residents in long-term care facilities have received the first dose nationwide. In Oklahoma, they say most facilities have held at least one clinic. Now that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine has been approved, Buck says one benefit from this includes easier vaccine access.
A resident discharging from a hospital into a long-term care setting, they would be able to get their vaccination benefit through a single dose as opposed to having to go through the two-step protocol.
I'm Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Buck adds that anyone in a nursing home who missed out on getting their vaccine or did not originally want one will still be eligible. Jasper County health officials say a little more than 12% of the county has received a COVID-19 vaccine. They're trying to drive up those numbers this week with a mass vaccination clinic. It started yesterday and continues today at Carthage's Fairview Christian Church. You need an appointment to get a shot, and they say it does not hurt.
I've had a lot of people say, oh, I didn't even feel that. So it's not as bad as you think it is. I think the anticipation going into it is worse than the actual shot.
Ma'am, would you like to follow me down this way?
The clinic continues today from 9 to 2 at Fairview Christian Church. Again, an appointment is required. This is Severe Weather Preparedness Week. Yesterday was Tornado Safety Day. As part of that, statewide tornado drills were held across the 4 states, encouraging everyone to practice what to do in the event of an actual tornado. Students at Joplin High School took part in the drill, but with the coronavirus still a risk, it raises the question of how to take shelter and still be safe from the spread.
I think mask wearing is a good thing to do. Maintaining some kind of a distance as best you can in family groups at the very least off to one side from each other. It can be done. Sometimes it's not very comfortable, but it can be done.
Joplin, the school shelters double as community shelters in the event of a tornado warning. You can find a list of shelters in your area on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Law officers in Miami, Oklahoma yesterday recovered more than 50 guns that they believe were stolen from a local business. Police, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and the Quapaw Nation recovered the guns from a home, but say more are still missing. Missouri's junior U.S. Senator Josh Hawley has voted against every one of President Biden's cabinet appointments until yesterday. Senator Hawley voted to confirm Cecilia Rouse as the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors. Hawley's support came after he defended his prior record of not voting to advance any Biden cabinet secretary nominees, insisting that he evaluates each pick individually. So far, 13 of President Biden's 23 cabinet-level nominees requiring Senate approval have been confirmed. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a surprise birthday gift from Chase Bank to Chase Banks. After a year of jokes, sharing a name with one of the nation's largest banking companies finally pays off for a California teen. We'll have that story. Plus, the U.S. places new sanctions on Moscow for the arrest and alleged poisoning of Alexei Navalny. We'll have the latest. But first, it's 5:37.
Find a reason to get outside today and enjoy some fresh air because it's going to be absolutely delightful. As temperatures approach the 70-degree mark, just a little south-southwesterly breeze, not going to play any role. However, humidity already extremely low, so you know what I'm going to say. Elevated fire risk, please, no outdoor burning. Conditions going to be right for things to spread and spread quickly. As we get to the 7-day forecast, we're going to almost run a repeat on Thursday. Then Thursday night, a little cloud cover begins to develop out to the west, brings us rain on Friday and cooler temperatures working in off the Rockies down into the 50s, right back into the 60s though, with additional sunshine on Saturday and Sunday. We'll be right back with World Watch right after this.
Topping World Watch, an American fashion student in Paris got stranded during the pandemic, but found his style through his struggle. And now he's stepping into an unusual edition of French Fashion Week. CBS's Ian Lee reports.
French fashion is typically avant-garde, belonging more on the runway than on Main Street. But this year, American designer James Giltner found inspiration in something we can all relate to.
I would definitely not have this collection now if it wasn't for COVID in the weirdest way possible, but that's the truth of it.
It started during lockdown when the 23-year-old student picked up a hobby.
So I was stuck in my apartment in Paris alone for months on end, and all I did was knit. And all of these techniques that came out of this project were developed during that time. So.
What he knitted isn't your grandmother's sweater. Call his collection Corona Couture.
No matter how chic we try to be and no matter how glamorous we are, we're always going to have, viruses running us one way or another.
He's dedicated his designs to what he calls the COVID generation. His teacher says to be young and creative in a pandemic is difficult, but despite the crisis, students like James rose above it. A lesson for all of us, that resilience never goes out of style. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Interesting fashion. 10 days of high-end catwalk shows usually held in the French capital this month are being streamed online because of the pandemic. New York and Milan will also present their events virtually. The U.S. imposes new sanctions on Moscow for the arrest and alleged poisoning of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny. The U.S. State, Treasury, and Commerce departments are taking action, teaming up with the European Union. Doctors say Navalny was poisoned last August by a chemical nerve agent. The U.S. blames the Kremlin for the reported attack. The sanctions are the first to target Russia by the Biden administration. Navalny was arrested in January and sentenced to more than 2 years in jail on parole charges he says were made up. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says the country will respond to any U.S. sanctions. A toddler in Vietnam survives after falling from the 12th floor of the Hanoi apartment building. A person from a nearby building caught the child on video Sunday, clinging to the balcony of a condo. The toddler fell. Passing delivery driver noticed what was happening and managed to climb a bike shed in an attempt to catch her. Despite tripping, the driver made the catch before she hit the street. State television reports the girl was rushed to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. It's not known how the child got herself into this situation. Oh, talk about being in the right place at the right time there. Aw, it's a girl. After 2 weeks, the Berlin Zoo is proud to announce its newest gorilla baby is a female. Zoo officials are overjoyed it's a girl because it's good for the European Conservation Breeding Program. She is the first gorilla born in the Berlin Zoo in 16 years. And it's the first offspring for both mom, Bibi, and father, Sango. As far as baby names go, the zoo went on social media asking for suggestions to name the gorilla cub by March 8th. Aww, such a sweetie. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for something to talk about.
What do you think we should name it?
Baby G.
Baby G. Michaela.
Michaela?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you get that?
Michael with an A.
Oh. Well, she is a much cuter version than Michael. Let's put it that way.
Michelle. Oh, I was trying to be self-serving with the gorilla name.
Well, first one born in the Berlin Zoo, so maybe we can branch it off of that, pick something German or something to do with Berlin.
9.
9.
Got her. Or something to talk about on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, asking what you think about self-checkout compared to cashiers, as Walmart has removed all cashiers from its neighborhood market at Stone's Corner in Joplin. And we'll begin our comments with Stacy Bird Kirkpatrick. Stacy says maybe people should just go in, get a cart full of groceries and walk out. No one to stop you. A machine won't run after you. Liz Merriman says Home Depot, same way. And Liz won't shop there. She says, I've left stuff in my cart and gone somewhere else. No, Roy, that's bad. No, bad. Chris Westervelt says, this is simple. If you like this, shop there. If you don't, shop somewhere else. Chris personally thinks it's a rabbit hole for Walmart and any other business that is thinking of implementing this process. Michelle Piscini, looking to be a beautiful day, people. It is indeed, Michelle. Get out and enjoy. Now, Michelle says, I refuse to shop there. I've always refused to go through self-checkout, rather stand in line 30 minutes than help eliminate jobs, especially to the one of the giants already running out small businesses. Michelle says this is why we shop local first, a little more money, but they need our support. As far as our Insta poll goes this morning, I think it's going to be a runaway. 79% say you do prefer a cashier. Only 21% saying prefer self-checkout. Let your voice be heard. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. President Biden says by the end of May, the U.S. will have enough coronavirus vaccine doses to immunize every adult in the country. That's at least 2 months ahead of schedule. It's expected to take most of the summer to get those shots into people's arms. Nursing homes across the country are seeing a decline in COVID-19 related deaths, and that's according to a report from the American Healthcare Association and National Center for Assisted Living. They say there's been an 82% decline since December of last year. Some good news came out of yesterday's COVID-19 briefing at Freeman Hospital. Freeman officials say the number of COVID-19 inpatients has declined. A total of 13 COVID patients were getting treatment in Freeman West and Freeman Neosho yesterday. That's compared to 66 patients at the peak. Freeman currently has 1 COVID patient in ICU, so the hospital is now converting unit space to handle other patients. But they say the space could be equipped for COVID patients again if necessary. Law officers in Miami yesterday recovered more than 50 guns that they believe were stolen from a local business. Police, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and the Quapaw Nation recovered the guns from a home, but say more are still missing. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Very, very mild temperatures to start our Wednesday. It's still a wide variety, though, especially when we look what's down in northeast Oklahoma compared to southwest Missouri. Miami at 29. Now, Carl Junction's already bumped up to 45 degrees right now. 36 in Parsons, and let's roll 34 in Nevada. Look out, 70. We're going to try to get up there today, well above our average high for this time of March. And normally we top out around 55. We're going to see 68 to 70 degrees this afternoon. Going to be absolutely gorgeous with a whole bunch of sunshine. And the nice thing about that little southerly breeze is it means overnight as we work from Wednesday night into Thursday morning, we don't have to worry about getting close to the freezing mark anytime soon. Big development, we'll do a repeat performance on Thursday. Big development's going to be Thursday evening. Clouds going to move in from the west, and we got a little Pacific moisture that's going to move in. You know, usually we talk about everything moving up from the Gulf. This is actually kicking out of the west coast, coming over the Rockies. Bringing some rain on Friday. Short-lived, as we're right back into the 60s with a whole bunch of sunshine on Saturday and Sunday. Look at the Tuesday. Oh, start to talk about some March thunderstorm activity, huh? Of course, you can always find the latest downloadable for free. There's a QR code. We'll bring it back later in the show on the Skywatch weather app.
When the storm.
Big surprise from Chase Bank for his 18th birthday in honor of his name being the same as the bank's. Check this out. Marie Edinger has the story.
Chase Banks hears a lot of jokes about his name.
Like everyone, my name's Chase Banks. Everyone they'll send me pictures on Snapchat of the bank and stuff. They're like, "Hey, look, it's your house," and stuff like that.
But he's never seemed to mind. In fact, he's making the most of it, collecting memorabilia with his name on it, the bank's name on it.
About 3 months ago, I had wrote to them because I was looking for a Chase Banks decal for his truck that we were getting him, and I couldn't find one. So I had just messaged the bank and asked if they could get me one that I could buy.
The bank went a step further.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Surprising Chase with all sorts of Chase Bank goodies for his 18th birthday.
I thought it was crazy. There's a dog at my door. Yeah, I had no idea. It was new to me today.
Just getting to be a part of the celebration for him, when you work for the industry that I'm in, you're constantly connecting with people and their personal lives, and so getting to be a part of his personal celebration just was an honor for me.
This is Chase's senior year, spending it away from school, away from friends, not getting to play baseball like he's used to. It's been rough. The visit made the year more memorable, this time for a good reason.
It definitely it made my whole year basically. It was very unexpected and different for this time. It was very nice.
Now, Chase also got a tattoo of the Chase Bank logo for his 18th birthday. Why not? His last name written is in the center, and it reads, established 2003, the year he was born. I like that.
Do you want me to give you the reason not to get the Chase Bank logo tattooed on you for your 18th
Yes,
birthday?
please.
It's one of those irreversible life decisions.
You can always cover it up.
That's good. If your morning routine involves Facebook, you can go to @MichaelHayslip, KOAM, quick hitter of what we've got throughout the course of the day. That's also the same forecast that you will find on the Skywatch weather app that is downloadable for free on all your mobile devices. Then you flip on over to KOAMNewsNow.com and our Facebook page. We're asking, what do you think about self-checkout in stores? Rocky Cunningham says if you have to do an employee's job, then I think you should be given an employee discount. Come on, man, you know the thing. It's called common sense. Love you, Aunt Pat. We love you, Aunt Pat, as well. Leandra West says, going to lose a lot of customers. I've already heard several say they won't go back. Miriam Campbell says if they aren't going to pay labor, they need to give a discount. And Guy Hansen says, boycott, resist, or be sheep. Shoppers' lives matter. Walton's in a blanket, fry them like bacon. Isn't that the Democratic way? Remember, guy, Gene Bicknell wrote a book too. Don't fry bacon in the nude. Did you know that? Why are you laughing, Tanya? That's true. Gene did write that book. Be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this. Still got this wide variety of temperatures that we're looking at along I-44. You know, it's 29 in Miami, you had 45 in Carl Junction. And then we've pretty much got a smattering of mid-30s after that. It really is a nice start to our morning. Early March should be down around 33 degrees, so we're not abnormally cold by any means, and it's nice and calm outside. Speaking of average highs and lows, you'll notice we should be around 55 this afternoon. We're going to just sprint past that. We're going to throw some 70s up on the board here by the time it's said and done. Thanks in part two. Number one, the sunshine. It's going to rise at 6:46. Number two, little south-southwesterly breeze. Not too bad. However, humidity extremely low already, so we need to avoid any outdoor burning once again. Just dangerous for that to spread. Now, we're going to be able to make it up into the 70s, or at least close to that, on Thursday as well. Friday's the development. That's when we've got some rain that works in from the west. Nothing severe, and then a beautiful weekend, 60s on Saturday and Sunday.
Vaccines in action. We'll tell you how vaccination efforts at local nursing homes contributed to a decline in COVID-related deaths. Plus, what you need to know about using a community storm shelter during a pandemic. And authorities in Miami recover guns believed were stolen from a local business.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Got a few more mild days to enjoy, but rain could be on the way soon. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
And we're starting to lighten up just outside of Television City. Going to be an absolutely gorgeous Wednesday sunrise as our temperatures right now. Sit at 45 outside the mothership. Look how low that humidity is. So that's why we got to go back to the whole don't burn anything outside. It's going to be too dangerous. 32 in Miami compared to 39 in Pittsburgh. Let's roll 37 in Monette and 35 right now in Independence. Clean Sky Watch Storm Tracker. Remember, that's just a little residual that sweeping radar likes to pick up every now and then. She gets finicky when it gets a little dry. That's not a bad thing, though, especially considering that we're approaching severe weather season. Not having to worry about anything severe here for the next couple of days. That's actually our next system right there. You go, wow, we got a lot of Gulf moisture that usually works in. No, this one's actually sitting off the west coast right now and is going to move from west to east on us, but not going to be here until Friday. We're going to put up numbers close to 70 later on this afternoon with a whole bunch of sunshine. And then as we work into Thursday, we're pretty much going to have a repeat performance. So Thursday evening is when we see the clouds begin to develop, and there's that rain that we talked about. Nothing widespread nor severe. And a little bit of cold air on the backside of it that'll drop us into the 50s to finish out our work week. But then on Saturday and Sunday, right back into the 60s with more sunshine. Finally looking at some thunderstorm activity here in March next Tuesday. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Michael. Nursing homes across the country are seeing a decline in COVID-19 related deaths, and that's according to a report from the American Healthcare Association and National Center for Assisted Living. They say there's been an 82% decline since December of last year. Law officers in Miami yesterday recovered more than 50 guns that they believe were stolen from a local business. Police, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and the Quapaw Nation recovered the guns from a home, but say more are still missing. Kansas City police officer will not be charged in last year's deadly shooting. The Jackson County prosecutor said Monday that she will not charge the unnamed officer who shot and killed Donnie Sanders. An independent investigation into the shooting determined the state would have a hard time proving the officer used excessive force during a trial. Sanders was shot in March of 2020 after the officer pulled his vehicle over for speeding. According to the county prosecutor, the officer claimed Sanders said he was going to shoot him. No weapon was found on or near Sanders at the scene. This is Severe Weather Preparedness Week, and yesterday was Tornado Safety Day. As part of that, statewide tornado drills were held in Kansas and Missouri, even Oklahoma and Arkansas, encouraging everyone to practice what to do in the event of an actual tornado. Students at Joplin High School took part in the drill. But with the coronavirus still a risk, it raises questions of how to take shelter and still be safe from the spread.
The discussion has been, if you go into the you go into the shelter, obviously we have a mask mandate at the school that is still in place. Even though the city's has expired, the school policy is, to mask.
In Joplin, the school shelters double as a community shelter in the event of a tornado warning. You can find a list of shelters in your area on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Freeman Health System says COVID-19 hospitalizations are down. At a briefing yesterday, officials said a total of 13 COVID patients were getting treatment in Freeman West and Freeman Neosho yesterday, compared to 66 patients at the peak. Freeman currently has one COVID patient in ICU, so the hospital is converting unit space to handle other patients.
But the thing that we've learned during the pandemic is that you have to be incredibly flexible. Those numbers have spiked and they've nadirred many times during the past year. And so the ability to have that space or give it back flexibly as we need to.
Really the person that is overseeing.
Freeman also says of the COVID-19 patients they are treating, none are on a ventilator. Jasper County health officials say a little more than 12% of the county has received a COVID-19 vaccine. They're trying to drive up those numbers this week with a mass vaccination clinic. It started yesterday and continues today at Carthage's Fairview Christian Church. People involved say they appreciate all the help from volunteers.
This is one more example of us reaching out on a very short notice and saying that we need help. And those people that are there all the time once again stepped up to help out whatever they need.
The clinic continues today from 9 to 2 at Fairview Christian Church. An appointment is required. Pittsburgh firefighters will soon have another space to hone their skills. They're building a new training tower. The tower will be 30 feet tall with 2 decks, a window, and tubing to simulate small areas. Some of the firefighters do construction on the side, so they are building the new tower themselves.
Like this does a tremendous amount in terms of building esprit de corps and morale in the fire department. Our guys, our folks are taking a real interest in this, and they're really, they're donating a lot of sweat equity to this project.
Shoals hope to have the new tower finished in the next few days. Well, new this morning, the city of Asbury, Missouri issues a boil advisory until further notice. Officials say they're having problems with a water pump since midnight. Residents should boil any water intended for cooking or drinking. Merrick Garland is a step closer to becoming the next U.S. Attorney General. On Monday, the Senate Judiciary voted to send President Joe Biden's AG nominee to the Senate floor. The tally was 15-7, with 4 Republican senators voting with their Democratic counterparts. Garland, a Chicago native, was a former President Barack Obama's pick to succeed the late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. But the Senate GOP did not hold confirmation hearings. Prior to that, Garland supervised the probe into the Oklahoma City bombing and was involved with the prosecution of Unabomber Ted Kaczynski. 6:07.
On to the fresh air forecast. You're going to want to get outside this afternoon because it's going to be absolutely gorgeous with temperatures approaching the 70-degree mark and almost a repeat performance on Thursday. Don't have to worry about rain moving in until Friday. That's why really take advantage of the next 48 hours. And if you have weekend plans, you are in luck, as we'll have more sunshine and temperatures in the 60s.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, vaccination efforts.
Huge news on the vaccine front as the president announces everyone should be able to get one earlier than we first thought. I'm Deborah Alfarone in Washington with that and the easing of coronavirus restrictions in some states and cities.
Plus, you won't be able to find 6 Dr. Seuss books on store shelves anymore. We're going to tell you why. And DIY extraordinaire Amy Sadler shows our own Jesse Irwin how to make the perfect craft just in time for spring. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Money Watch this morning, 3 in 10 small businesses say they will not survive without more federal assistance. Michael George shows us how across the country, regular people are going to great lengths to keep their favorite establishments open for business.
Ian Braverman didn't want to see any more closed signs go up in his neighborhood, so he did something about it.
So I came up with this idea where I was like, it'd be great if I could see if there's interest from the community to help, just give a small donation, a small gift to all these hardworking people that, feed our community.
That small act got a big response. $14,000 in donations to help 25 restaurants in his Northbrook, Illinois community.
He really made my day.
Nick Drivis, owner of the Grill House restaurant, couldn't believe it when Ian, a complete stranger, walked in with a check.
His act of kindness in doing that and trying to help the restaurants. When he came into my restaurant, I was kind of overwhelmed with gratitude for what he had done.
With federal aid lacking for businesses hurt by the pandemic, ordinary people are stepping up. In Watertown, Massachusetts, employees and customers raised nearly $50,000 to keep this diner afloat.
Thank you very much.
This restaurant in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania got a boost from community donations through a Barstool Sports fundraiser.
It makes me feel that there is good humans in the world. There's people that care about the everyday person.
Ian Braverman says pitching in during difficult times is what Americans do.
Just knowing that all these people they're hard workers, this is their livelihood. So we stand to lose these people that have dedicated their life to things like this.
He believes without community support, we risk losing businesses that are the cornerstones of our community. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
In many cases, community support is only part of the solution. A federal survey in the fall found 44% of small businesses are more than $100,000 in debt. Across the country, millions of families are facing a housing crisis, and that's according to a new report from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. More than 11 million families are behind on rent and mortgage payments due to financial struggles from the coronavirus pandemic, and that's 10% of American families at risk of eviction. 6 Dr. Seuss children's books will no longer be published. Dr. Seuss Enterprises, the company that preserves and protects the author's legacy, says they made the decision, citing racist and insensitive imagery. In a statement, the company said, quote, "These books portray people in ways that are hurtful and wrong. The 6 books include the late author's hit books, And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street, and If I Ran the Zoo." The other books affected are McElligot's Pool, On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Eggs Super, and The Cat's Quizzer. Well, Disney's California Adventure Park is opening for a special limited capacity event. It's called A Touch of Disney. While attractions are still closed, visitors will be allowed inside the park to enjoy classic Disney foods like Dole Whip, Mickey-shaped pretzels, churros, lobster nachos, and chicken skewers. Some shops will be open, and as you wander the park, you might see some characters ready to take socially distanced photos. The event kicks off March 18th. Tickets are $75, and they include admission, parking, and a $25 dining card. Not bad. That's it for Money Watch. We'll be right back.
Rolling up on 6:17 and a gorgeous, gorgeous sunrise outside of Television City. Marvelous middle of the week here in the 4 states in early March as we sit at 45 degrees. Very, very dry as well. That humidity only 49%. 40 in Lamar. Let's roll 39 in Chanute and 37 right now in Monette. Wind is working in from the south-southwest. We've seen double-digit gusts. Hasn't been too blustery. No watches or warnings, but once again, please avoid any outdoor burning because of that humidity being so low, temperatures so high, and double-digit winds. Not a good thing to throw in with those two factors. Thunderstorm activity that was in the Gulf for the past couple of days now pushing off to the southeast/mid-Atlantic portion. Not looking at anything severe. Here's the next system that we'll pay attention to. Big low pressure hanging off the Pacific coast right now, just about to make land later on this morning. And we'll head our way over the Rockies. But before it does, we've got 48 hours of absolutely beautiful weather, up close to 70 degrees later this afternoon. And overnight, thanks in part to number 1, the sunshine. Number 2, the breeze. Even without cloud cover, we're going to be well above the freezing point. Kind of put that in the rearview mirror here for the next couple of days. Now, we talked about that system that was hanging out west. Well, Thursday, we'll see the development of some cloud cover to begin with. That won't really be until the late afternoon, evening hours. Then we'll have that rain just move in. We're not looking at anything severe, and you can kind of tell it does a good job breaking up from the heavier stuff that it drops over central Kansas. After that, a little bit cooler on Friday, 50s. but a beautiful weekend. 60 on Saturday and Sunday. Remember, it is Severe Weather Preparedness Week. We don't have any severe weather this week. That's why it's a great time just to be prepared. There's that QR code. All you have to do is grab your phone, take a picture of that thing right there. That's right, just take a picture. And that's going to deliver you to the exact place where you can download the Skywash weather app. And of course, that's going to be your #1 4-state resource during severe weather season. Now, over to Jesse in Studio K.
I'm sorry, I'm just taking a picture of it. I want to make sure I got it.
Take a picture, click.
Got it. There's spring in the air, and that means that our friend Amy Sadler has a fun project waiting for us. We stopped by the She Shed to see what DIY activity she has in store.
Today we're just going to take a regular terracotta pot. They're so inexpensive and they turn out so beautiful. We're gonna make it look old and kind of Frenchish.
Great. That's what they were going for when they made
Right?
I'm just messing with you. That's really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do?
Well, I have some cream colored chalk paint in here, and I'm just gonna give you, well, let me show you first. Let me show you
please.
First. So we're not gonna paint it fully. We're just gonna kind of get some chalk paint on in a very haphazard way. Chalk paint just has a really excellent sticking quality. You can paint over just about anything with chalk paint and it's gonna stick. We're just going to, see how I did that? Just kind of dry brush.
Yeah.
I didn't get a lot of paint on and I just haphazardly put it on.
They didn't teach you to fill in the color in the lines
No,
as a kid?
I have never.
Okay.
Don't ever accuse me of coloring in the lines because
Won't do.
that's offensive to me. Yep, in all directions, up and down, just like that's perfect. You're the best haphazard painter.
I'm not even looking.
And that's what it takes. We're trying to make it look like it's been that will come off really easy too.
I did not get the pot at all. Okay. So we're doing pretty well here.
Yeah.
Is this good?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, because we're gonna actually take some moss. I love to use moss, especially when I'm aging something. So we're gonna take our pot and anywhere you want. You don't have to do it on the open spots. I'm gonna do it right here where I think I got too much paint here. So I'm gonna put some hot glue like that. And I'm just gonna pick some of this green moss and I'm just gonna stick it on there like that.
Mine kind of looks like it got a really bad, like woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Bad haircut.
Yeah.
Haven't had a haircut. So there's that one. Then I already had painted, and our chalk paint is already dry. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's real time. It took on a terracotta pot.
Less than a minute.
Yeah,
easily.
chalk paint will dry like that.
Jeez.
So then I have a bigger one here, and then we'll put the 3 sizes together. Then we can take the 3 sizes that we have here and use them as like a display. Put some, you were asking about color.
Yeah.
I'm the wrong person to ask, I love all green, but we're gonna add some spring colors in here. Okay. And there you have a nice little spring arrangement. How cute
That's
is that?
fun. Yours is much more
Only because I have
home-friendly.
only because I have more big flowers in it than yours, but yours is perfect.
Topping Health Watch this morning, state and local governments are scaling back coronavirus restrictions with vaccination efforts continuing to ramp up. Health experts are concerned the rollbacks are happening just a moment too soon. CBS's Deborah Alfarone has more from Washington.
To open Texas 100%.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott is removing all coronavirus restrictions and ending the mask mandate 1 week from today.
Removing state mandates does not end personal responsibility.
Health experts are concerned since less than 7% of the state's population is fully vaccinated.
A variety of COVID-19 variants are not only circulating around the world, but have found their foothold in North Texas as well.
Businesses can still enforce their own rules.
I'm concerned about my staff's safety.
Restaurant owners like Cesar Zepeda now have decisions to make.
I'm leaning towards having my staff still wear masks and maybe require anybody that comes here.
The Lone Star State isn't alone when it comes to rolling back restrictions.
The governor's office is getting out of the business of telling people what they can and cannot do.
Mississippi ended its mask mandate, San Francisco now allows indoor dining, and Chicago eased restrictions on restaurants and bars.
Small turns of the dial are safe to do.
Here in Washington, President Biden announced a pharmaceutical partnership that would give the U.S. enough vaccine doses for every adult by the end of May.
Johnson & Johnson and Merck will work together to expand the production of Johnson & Johnson's vaccine.
President Biden is also hoping to offer every teacher and school worker at least one shot by the end of the month. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
President Biden invoked the Defense Production Act to help Merck ramp up production, but it may take a few months to convert its facilities. Some health officials are concerned about a decline in COVID-19 testing. The COVID tracking project shows test rates have dipped by a quarter since mid-January. CDC says those tests are critical to controlling the pandemic, even as vaccinations are getting underway. The agency points to case numbers that are plateauing and coronavirus variants that are spreading. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is set to put out new guidance for people who have been fully vaccinated against the coronavirus. A CDC official says the agency will release that guidance once it is finalized later this week. The guidance will reportedly include a recommendation that people who have been vaccinated limit social interactions to small home gatherings. Additionally, there will be a recommendation that people keep wearing masks in public and social distancing once fully vaccinated. St. Patrick's Day is coming up this month, so the CDC wants to again urge people to avoid party gatherings. Agency reminds us that gatherings increase the risk of getting and spreading COVID-19. CDC writes the safest way to celebrate St. Patrick's Day this year is to gather virtually with people who live with you or outside and at least 6 feet apart from others. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Let's roll that fresh air forecast and look at temperatures that are going to approach 70 degrees later on today. Very dry. The humidity already down around 40%. It's very unusual for this early in the morning. So let's be careful out there because we do have an elevated fire risk. Repeat performance on Thursday. More sunshine, close to 70 degrees. Got rain that's going to work in on Friday. Not looking at anything severe. A little cooler temperatures to end the work week, but then right back into the 60s with more sunshine on Saturday and Sunday. Of course, you can always find the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
Vaccines in action. We'll tell you how vaccination efforts at local nursing homes contributed to a decline in COVID-related deaths. Plus, what you need to know about using a community storm shelter during a pandemic. And authorities in Miami recover guns believed were stolen from a local business.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll have a few more mild days left this week, but rain could be in our future. Here's Michael with a look at your forecast.
It is, and mild may be an understatement, Tanya. I'd almost say it's warm for this early in March. Gorgeous start outside of Television City, sitting at 45 degrees. Very, very dry as well. Humidity already down to 49%. 41 in Lamar, 36 in Parsons, less roll 34 right now in Anderson with no cloud cover, never mind, no precipitation. As far as the wind chills go, we are a little bit cooler. They're 27 in Independence and 27 in Mount Vernon. We've seen warmer temperatures right here in the central portion of the 4 states. It only feels like 35 right now in Pittsburgh. Sunrise officially over the 4 states, 6:46, so just about there, sunny and dry. South breeze. Just 5 to 10 miles per hour. It's not going to be too impressive. Thunderstorm activity kicking off to the mid-Atlantic. That's a big low-pressure system that's about to make inland, and Tanya was talking about rain in our future. And that's where it's going to come from. Going to work off the west coast. Kind of unusual, you know. We always talk about Gulf moisture for the most part. But for today and for tomorrow, we're going to approach 70 degrees. Just absolutely gorgeous. Now, as we get closer to Friday, watch this thing right here. Going to turn into snow over the Rockies, gets on the other side, back to rain. Not on us until Friday, and we're not looking at anything severe. Cooler temperatures on the backside of it. Friday's going to be in the 50s, but delightful looking weekend. With temps back into the 60s for Saturday and Sunday. Then, not to move too far ahead of ourselves, but looks like we're finally going to start talking about March thunderstorm activity come Tuesday. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Michael. Nursing homes across the country are seeing a decline in COVID-19 related deaths. That's according to a report from the American Health Care Association and National Center for Assisted Living. They say there's been an 82% decline since December of last year. We spoke with Stephen Buck, president of Care Providers Oklahoma, on the importance of people in long-term care facilities working to bring down these cases.
Important, but I would also share with you that the frontline heroes who have been doing this work, their infection control protocols, our understanding of how to do mitigation as effectively as we possibly can, that is contributing.
He says that's because community spread is declining in the state. It is in nursing homes as well. This is Severe Weather Preparedness Week, and yesterday was Tornado Safety Day. As part of that, statewide tornado drills were held in Kansas and Missouri, encouraging everyone to practice what to do in the event of an actual tornado. Students at Joplin High School took part in the drill, but with the coronavirus still a risk, it raises the question of how to take shelter and still be safe from the spread.
I think mask wearing is a good thing to do. Maintaining some kind of a distance as best you can in family groups at the very least off to one side from each other. It can be done. Sometimes it's not very comfortable, but it can be done.
In Joplin, the school shelters double as community shelters in the event of a tornado warning. You can find a list of shelters in your area on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Some good news came out of yesterday's COVID-19 briefing at Freeman Hospital. Freeman officials say the number of COVID-19 inpatients has declined. A total of 13 COVID patients were getting treatment in Freeman West and Freeman Neosho yesterday, and that's compared to 66 patients at the peak. Freeman currently has one COVID patient in ICU, so the hospital is now converting unit space to handle other patients. But they say the space could be equipped for COVID patients again if necessary. Officials say the decline in numbers are due in part to residents complying with COVID-19 safety precautions. New this morning, the city of Asbury, Missouri issues a boil advisory until further notice. Officials say they're having problems with a water pump and have been since midnight. Residents should boil any water intended for cooking or drinking. Law officers in Miami, Oklahoma yesterday recovered more than 50 guns that they believe were stolen from a local business. Police, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and the Quapaw Nation recovered the guns from a home, but say more are still missing. A 15-year-old boy is fighting for his life in a community south of Little Rock, Arkansas, after a shooting at his junior high Monday. Police say a classmate pulled the trigger, and that student is now in custody. Reporter Paris Kane has reaction.
I can tell you that I have had staff members crying in the hall and students embracing their parents.
It's every parent's worst nightmare.
Really touched home because I have a middle schooler and a high schooler.
Janelle Castor just moved to Pine Bluff a little over a week ago and was devastated to hear the news of what went down at Watson Chapel Junior High.
You talk to your child one time before they go to school and you're not knowing that may be their last, time that they're alive.
District Superintendent Dr. Jerry Guest says it happened just before 10 Monday morning.
The teachers locked down their classrooms, turned out their lights, protected their children.
Pine Bluff police say it was a targeted event and believe it was a disagreement between the two young men.
Know that they're working to investigate and discover whatever motives might exist beyond that.
The 15-year-old victim was flown to Children's Hospital and is in serious condition.
My heart just go out to the mom. If she's listening right now, I'm here for you. I'm praying for you, and I'm just hoping that that your heart is comfort at this time.
The suspect was located and taken to Jack Jones Juvenile Detention Center.
Students need to understand how precious life is. We all do.
Dr. Guest says they have a certified deputy sheriff and a separate employee charged with maintaining security on their secondary campus. Pine Bluff police say there was no officer present at the time of the shooting.
Can we do more? I'm sure we can.
Is there any consideration for, upping any security or anything like that around the schools?
We're always interested in what we can do to improve our security.
Dr. Guest says they're already in talks with local law enforcement about ways to enhance security. While they work on that, counselors and outside resources are also going to be helping heal the students and staff.
They're going to be here. So I can tell you that in moments of tragedy such as this, the good in people comes out, and we're getting a tremendous outpouring of support and offers for help.
Prosecutors will decide in the next few days whether to charge the suspect as a juvenile or an adult. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, a fatal car crash.
What happened in the moments before a big rig and an SUV packed with 25 people collided in California, killing 13? I'm Deborah Alfarone with the latest on the investigation.
Plus, for our Something to Talk About on the KOAM News Now Facebook page, we're asking, what do you think about self-checkout at stores? We let you weigh in, but first, it's 6:37.
And it's going to be a gorgeous, gorgeous Wednesday. A whole lot of sunshine, temperatures 60 by the noon hour, up to 70 by the time it's all said and done, and don't have to worry about the rain working in until we get to Friday. That's going to be light as it is, 60s over the weekend. Then we start talking about some March thunderstorm activity for the middle of next week. We'll be back with Nation Watch next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, investigators are trying to figure out what led to a car crash in California that left at least 13 people dead. One area of particular interest, why one of the vehicles, an SUV, was carrying more than 3 times the number of passengers it was designed to hold. CBS's Deborah Alfarone has more.
Homeland Security in San Diego says it has initiated a human smuggling investigation after a 2-car crash near the Mexican border yesterday left more than a dozen people dead.
We need as many ambulances as you can handle right now.
Police say this 1998 SUV designed to hold 8 people was packed with 25 when it collided with a tractor trailer. California Highway Patrol says the middle and rear seats of the SUV were removed, making room for more people, but also making it less safe.
Some people were ejected onto the pavement, onto the ground, that passed away as a result of those injuries. Other people were found deceased within the vehicle, and then some of the walking wounded were able to pull themselves out of the vehicles.
The cause of the crash is still unclear. Among the factors investigators say they're looking at, the speed of the tractor trailer and whether the SUV stopped at a stop sign before it entered the highway. Police say the occupants of the SUV ranged in age from 16 to 53.
The important thing is that 13 people died in this crash. We owe it to the families of those that were killed and injured, as well as the public, to conduct a complete and thorough investigation.
In an unusual move, the National Transportation Safety Board has sent a team to investigate the crash. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News.
Investigators said the semi-69-year-old driver was hospitalized and is likely to survive. President Biden said that by the end of May, the U.S. will have enough coronavirus vaccine doses to immunize every adult in the country. That's at least 2 months ahead of schedule. It's expected to take most of the summer to get those shots into people's arms. The White House has withdrawn Neera Tanden's nomination to head the Office of Management and Budget. Tanden encountered bipartisan opposition in the Senate over the past derogatory Twitter post about lawmakers. The United States gets an overall grade of C- on infrastructure for 2021, and that's according to the American Society of Civil Engineers. The society represents civil engineers around the world and frequently advocates for increased investment in infrastructure. It has released its scorecard every 4 years since 1998. C- is actually a slight improvement for America. The group says this is the first time the nation's infrastructure has scored above the D range in 2 decades. Even so, the Society's executive director says it's certainly not a grade to be proud of. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta polls, shoppers with differing opinions on big changes at a few of our 4-state Walmart stores. Walmart's removed all of the cashiers from the neighborhood market at Stone's Corner in Joplin. Our question to you, what do you prefer, self-checkout or a cashier? We'll kick our comments back off with Richard Mann, who simply says, I will not support Walmart. Greg Horn says the good side of this is Harps will make a comeback and reap some new customers. Greg says you got to look for a sunny side. Harold Lawrence does not like it. And Mike Embry says this is what $15 an hour looks like. Can't afford personnel to man the store. Think about all the mom and pop businesses who can't afford to do this. John Trebian says they started with Made in America. Now it's all China. You talk about fair pay. They don't let their employees get 40 hours plus insurance. John says, I like the small mom and pop stores. Good morning, KOAM. Good morning, America. Say good morning, John. Kenny Kimmel, club member. Kenny says, I do not get paid to work there, and I don't even get an employee discount. You need my help to keep your store operating. Kenny says, let's talk compensation. Colleen McGuire Some people I know love self-checkout. I do not, Colleen says, and will wait in line for a cashier. Walmart stated it's not causing job losses. Colleen says, I have a hard time believing that. As far as our Instapoll goes, it's been pretty consistent all morning. Right now, 79% of you say that you do prefer a cashier when you go to check out at the store. You can make your voice heard. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We're going to come back, roll some birthdays and anniversaries for you right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Robert Adams. He was a member of the United States Army. He served from 1951 to 1953. His hometown, Joplin, Missouri. We are proud to salute Robert Adams, our four-state hero. Coincidentally enough, Mr. Adams turns 92 years old today, and we celebrate his birthday. Current Joplin resident, of course, today's four-state hero. Happy birthday, Mr. Adams. Thank you for your service.
Happy birthday, Mr. Adams. Leo Woods, he is celebrating his second birthday. Come off of our four-state hero there to a Captain America shirt and something else. Happy birthday, Mr. Leo, as he celebrates his second in Chanute.
Sage Whitworth is turning 5 years old this year. What she got there in her hand, a baby chick? Happy birthday, Sage, in Humboldt, Kansas.
I like that picture. Emerson Ratcliffe, a big 7th birthday. Peace out, kiddo. Nice bow. Love it. Miss Emerson is in Fort Scott.
And Cody Mitchell celebrating birthday number 8 this year. That's him on the left there in Webb City.
Now, you know who that is on the right?
Well, that's Cody's grandma.
That's Grandma Diana Farley. How cool is that? Yeah, I bet that's really special for Miss Diana. Diana, a very happy birthday to both you and Cody.
All right. Caden Schaus is turning 10 years old this year. Hope it's a great one for you, Caden, in Pittsburgh.
Got another one just hit double digits, Marone Schubach. Happy birthday to her as she celebrates big number 10 out by the lake.
All right, hard to believe
Rowan
going.
Farlington.
Yeah. Out in Chanute, Olivia Wheatley turning 11 years old this year. Happy birthday, Olivia.
And we got a 12-year-old in the form of Quincy Coots. Nice looking cake there, Quincy. I love that. She's celebrating in Cherokee.
All right, and Abigail Coleman. Welcome to adulthood, Abigail. Turning 18 years old in Baxter Springs today.
Just real fast, I would like to know the origination of the spelling of her first name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I have not seen that before. That's really neat, Abigail. If you have a chance, send Tanya a message on Facebook and get to the bottom of that.
Please do.
Bailey Cares, a happy 27th birthday. Speaking of warmer weather on the way, looks like we got a beach picture right there. Bailey's in Pittsburgh.
All right, and we've got Kendall Winter turning the big 3-0 this year. Kendall celebrating in St. Paul.
Back to Pittsburgh for Joan Stevenson's 56th birthday. A happy birthday to Joan.
All right, after Joan, we have Bob Kirkwood turning 80 years old this year. Looks like he couldn't be happier than in that picture there. Bob is in Chitopa.
Spoiling somebody as well, evidently. Darlene North, she is celebrating. Speaking of spoiling people, all these grandparents and great-grandparents, it's too great. Happy 83rd to Miss Darlene, and this is her most recent granddaughter. That's little Palmer that you see there in Darlene's arms. Happy birthday, Darlene.
Aw, that's sweet. Let's see, we've got a freshman at Labette County High School in Altamont, Riley Bebb.
No. This is mine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is mine. I knew she was coming up. All right, that kid you see right there, I can tell you that she's a great athlete. I can tell you that she can pitch and she can hit. But you know what else I can tell you? Is she's a tremendous kid and an even better person than she is an athlete. I have had the opportunity to not only be around Riley at extended periods of time, but also gotten to know her wonderful family, from her mom and her dad through her grandparents. And so it's no surprise that she is the young woman that she's turned out to be because of them and the way she was raised. Riley, you know that Caitlin, Kale, and I love you very, very much. And a big happy birthday from all of us here at KOAM, and especially the Hayslip household. Now go give your sister Hades.
Yeah, you do that. Happy birthday, Riley. Gwen Roseberry celebrating a birthday in Chanute. Looks like they're playing and having
That's a good
fun
picture
there.
right there.
Love it. Smile.
I like that. James and Heather Buchanan, they are celebrating their 14th anniversary. Speaking of beautiful pictures, look at that. They are in Jasper. Congratulations, James and Heather.
All right, and Tom and Crystal Handrich are celebrating their 37th anniversary. Ahoy, matey. I'm sorry, I had to do it. They're in Afton, Oklahoma.
That's good. And a good friend of KOAM, Miss Sonia Ritchie. Sonia, a very happy birthday from all of us here at the station. Have a marvelous day.
All right, and our list goes on with Dawson James King turning 19 years old this year in Iola. Happy birthday from Papa and Grandma Julie. And Joanne Biancarelli in Cherokee. Happy birthday to you.
Riley Hardy, the big 2-0. And Riley, I want you to know that these happy birthday wishes come from the entire family. Happy birthday, happy anniversary to all. Here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com. Sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. President Biden says that by the end of May, the U.S. will have enough coronavirus vaccine doses to immunize every adult in the country. That's at least 2 months ahead of schedule. It's expected to take most of the summer to get those shots into people's arms. And nursing homes across the country are seeing a decline in COVID-19 related deaths. According to a report from the American Healthcare Association and National Center for Assisted Living, they say there's been an 82% decline since December of last year. Some good news came out of yesterday's COVID-19 briefing at Freeman Hospital. Freeman officials say the number of COVID-19 inpatients has declined. A total of 13 COVID patients were getting treatment in Freeman West and Freeman Neosho yesterday, compared to 66 patients at the peak. Freeman currently has 1 COVID patient in ICU, so the hospital is converting unit space to handle other patients. They say the space could be equipped for COVID patients again if necessary. Law officers in Miami yesterday recovered more than 50 guns that they believe were stolen from a local business. Police, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and the Quapaw Nation recovered the guns from a home, but they say more are still missing. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
A delightful middle of the week. The sunshine lifting us up into the high 60s, if not 70s later on this afternoon, and a repeat performance on its way for Thursday. We do have a low pressure system working off the Pacific coast that brings us light rain on Friday, but we rebound just in time for the weekend with additional 60s for Saturday and Sunday. Of course, you can stay here and watch CBS This Morning, or if you want to have some additional fun, flip on over, join Tanya, Jesse, and I on Fox 14, where we're going to roll another hour of local news. Now that does wrap it up for this Wednesday, excuse me. Find an excuse to get out and enjoy some great fresh 4-state air here in the middle of the week, and we'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.